What's dangerous is when the universe pick you and you put on the magic glasses. There's rules that go with them. You can never take them off. You never see things as they're supposed to be. You see things as they are. And you can never force nobody else to wear them.
I think while I lie awake and contemplate tonight are wearing me out. Well, maybe tomorrow the world will wake and get it right, but I have my doubts, yeah. During the day, well, I design machines of war that scream through the sky. 'Cause I, for one, I like to go to bed free at night under these stars and stripes. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts, and I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. Yes, I have my doubts, but they'll wind you up and pull the cord until you're spun right out, and I don't understand. Roll the dice and raise the price to feed the machine's mouth. Call it the progress of man. And I have my doubts that we're coming out. Yes, I have my doubts. And I have my doubts that we'll make it back out. I have my doubts, so I'll drink my stuff and raise some hell and shoot my guns to the end of my time. You can have the booze and go to hell and take the guns, but I know they won't be mine. Messed up and out of touch, let's text someone who's in the other room. So don't wonder why we don't say hi or know anyone. I might as well move to the moon. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. So maybe I'm wrong. Well, I hope that I'm wrong. Well, the things I think while I lie awake and contemplate at night are wearing me out.
Good evening. Hope everyone's doing well. Not really peeking too much on my mic. I wonder what's up with that. Okay, now I should be there. Anyway, hope everyone is doing well. I was watching before this show. I was watching Tim Pool on Timcast IRL. Apparently, they had deleted two of his. You're the first on the sun. howdy, Ken. So they deleted the two most popular shows from Tim Pool. And I'm not 100% sure the second one, what the second one was. But I remember watching the first one that they deleted. I remember watching it live when it happened. And he had went to Texas, I believe it was. And he had Michael Mollis and Alex Jones and Joe Rogan. They were all, he had this camper that they pulled to Texas, and that's what they did the show in. That they had like a mobile studio, and incredible show. I mean, it was hilarious. Really, it was funny. It was a lot of fun, and I don't think there was anything really nefarious about the show whatsoever. But that was one of them that they nixed, and he said, and I don't know exactly what was with this, but he said they made some kind of a veiled threat. So I'm not surprised with the election coming up and stuff like that. I think that you can expect to see a lot of this kind of stuff happen. So especially for the shows that are more politically engaged. We're not really politically engaged. I don't pick one side over the other and sit there and promote one and not the other. I hate all politicians equally. I do know that that a kindergartner could do a better job than the current administration, but that's not a slap towards Democrats and holding up Republicans. I'm not going to do that. I don't play the lesser of two evils games. And I'm not impressed with the Republicans. Not even a little bit. Because what are they doing? What have they done? It's insane. It always seems like when something important comes up, I don't know, there happens to be a turncoat. You ever notice that? There always happens to be a turncoat right when something comes up important. Like, take a look at what's going on right now with the Ukraine aid bill. Okay, Mike Johnson turned into one hell of a turncoat. And it was like overnight. And so I don't think that you can rely on any of them. And I know a lot of people will jump and say, you can rely on Trump. You can rely on Trump. No, you can't. Trump encouraged the most amount of gun laws since Bill Clinton. You can't change that fact. Now, he didn't make the laws, right? But he encouraged them. The whole red flag law, and then being behind the bump stock ban. No, he's not as much on our side as what he has a lot of people fooled. But, there's not a lot of channels that take that angle. Most channels out there pick one side or the other, and I'm like, they're both equally evil. But doesn't mean that we won't get hit, because they don't like us for telling the truth. I don't know, folks. We are without a doubt heading to a darker place as a nation. And I do know that they are going to be doing everything they can in order to silence anybody that's telling the truth, or anybody in any way, shape, or form that goes against him. Or them. Not him, but them. All the while, if you keep spewing off nonstop nonsense, oh, they'll keep you. They'll keep you. And that's why I make an argument to the big YouTube channels with all the views, the ones that's always in the suggested, Now, we wouldn't trust any other platform when it comes to what they chose to push out on their algorithm. So how come YouTubers trust YouTube's algorithms? I'm of the opinion that if YouTube is pushing your content, it's because you're doing more damage than you are good. I'm convinced of that. Look at a video right now. 7 hours ago, it was done. I don't know the channel at all. You may. I don't know. The channel's James Caddis or James Cadis. I've never heard of it. It's just right over here on the suggested on the right-hand side here. Never heard of the guy. Title of the video is What in the World Did Iran Just Do? And in bold letters on the thumbnail it says Iran just went hot. Okay. How? How did Iran just go hot? They didn't. They didn't. There is nothing, because believe me, I've had my finger on the pulse of Iran and Israel all day, as I have since it kicked off. Since Israel hit the consulate. I've been watching it very close. They are on alert, but they have been on alert. The big talk today, in particular, is about S-400 missile systems and about how Russia has went on alert. Not because Iran did something. Iran didn't do anything more than what's already been done. So, Mr. Caddis, could you explain how Iran just went hot? Oh, that was just to get people's attention. Oh, okay. Well, then that excuses it. You don't have to be factual or truthful if you're getting people's attention. Yeah, anything goes then. Channels like that, they'll keep propping up. Why? Because they're bullshit. Plain and simple. They're bullshit. They're not going to allow the ones to keep telling the truth. You're going to see a lot of shakeups. We probably won't be around. I will be surprised if we make it to the election on this channel. I really, truly will. Because I tell the truth. I still think it's interesting what happened on Twitter before January 6th, and I still find that very suspicious. Because like a couple of days or something, I have to go look back at emails, but like a couple of days or something before January 6th, out of the blue, I've never had a Twitter infraction, nothing. I've never had a bad mark on Twitter, one. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, like 2 days before January 6th, January 4th, something like that, I got a suspension on Twitter. No reason why, but it was a suspension that would carry me through the inauguration. And I thought, that's kind of odd. And then January 6th happened. And it started to make just a tad bit more sense. Again, I don't pull for either side. So I would have looked at it objectively. I would have reported on it objectively. And I'm just assuming that they were trying to block. Of course, this was before Elon took it over. They were trying to block anything of the sort. We do have a reputation for being honest here. And I'm proud of that reputation. It's about to get ugly, I think. and I'm saying in many ways, but I'm saying on social media as far as being visible, as far as being even allowed on the platform. So we'll see. We'll ride this puppy to the end. We'll ride the wheels off of it. But anyway, I don't know what's going to happen with this Middle East situation. And I'm just saying that and just being really one-to-one with you. Do I think that this is going to be the lead up to World War III? I won't go that far. The reason why I say that is because there's a whole hell of a lot of nations that are trying to be very diplomatic about this stuff. And Israel does not want to be diplomatic. So I don't think that you're going to see the international support of Israel like you have in the past. Because there are a lot of nations in the West that are saying that Netanyahu is out of control at this point. So in order for it to be a catalyst for World War II, or World War III, people would really have to be behind them. And that's just not the case at all right now. And we'll be going over that. As far as the matchup between Iran and Israel itself, now this isn't going to be a popular statement, but Iran will walk all over Israel. Plain and simple, Iran will walk all over Israel. Israel's having enough of a battle with Hamas, okay, and Hezbollah and stuff like that. And that's peanuts. That is like nothing in comparison to what the IRGC could do directly. So, it's important to look at those things. So I don't think that the Iran, unless something really goes sideways, I don't think that Iran-Israel will be the catalyst for World War III. I think there's a lot of people out there using that in order to get video views, in order to, make money. So it's sad. I think it's sad. I think that's wrong to do. I miss the news of yesteryear, where there wasn't all kinds of advertisements, where there wasn't all kinds of opinions, where it was just information. And I really do truly miss that. And I'm talking about just over-the-air television. It was so nice to have just information. Sure, they've had a little bit of a slant for a long time, but nothing like they are now. I mean, not even close to what they are now. So, and a lot of it has to do with money. A lot of it has to do with advertisers. It's just insane. And then you've got like different news agencies. When I say agencies, I'm not necessarily saying like CNN, MSNBC. I'm even talking like local news stations, that they have to toe a particular line or the other, or else their advertisers won't stay with them. So, in other words, they may be being a little bit jaded with their content just to be able to keep that advertisement money, knowing that they're not being fully straight with you. I don't know. I've got big issues with that. So anyway, what do I got? 6 tabs open. I lied. 7. I've got 7 tabs open, and of course the headlines. And might as well just jump on in. Things are certainly heating up in the Middle East. But again, I don't think it's going to be the catalyst to throw the entire world into World War III. Did Russia deliver S-400s to Iran? ? Netanyahu's meeting with the foreign ministers of Germany and Britain crashed. Iranian nuclear facilities targeted. So kind of a lot in a single headline. but you'll get the feel of a lot of what's going on. It says Russia's strategic nuclear forces have been put on high alert after the looming wreck at the meeting between Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and foreign ministers of Germany and Britain. Both the German and his British counterpart traveled all the way to Israel because Netanyahu wasn't answering their calls. Prime Minister of Israel Netanyahu, after a conversation with foreign ministers of Germany and the United Kingdom, said, "They have all kinds of suggestions and advice. I appreciate that, but I want to make it clear. We will make our own decisions, and the state of Israel will do whatever is necessary to defend itself." So that pretty much says it all. Goes on to say Israel has decided to respond to Iran's attack. British Foreign Secretary David Cameron said after a meeting with Israeli President Isaac Herzog on Wednesday morning. "It is clear that the Israelis are deciding to act," Cameron said. "We hope they do it in a way that does as little as possible to escalate this phenomenon." Some Biden administration officials expect Israel to carry out a limited strike inside Iran. A senior U.S. official told CBS News' David Martin, adding, "But Israel doesn't give information to the U.S., so the U.S. doesn't know what form Israeli retaliation will take or when it will happen." Now, I don't know if necessarily that's true, or if that's just some CYA going on. Goes on to say yesterday the Russian Central Command broadcast radio signals on encrypted military frequencies to ballistic nuclear missile submarines. Analysts talk about the code Monolith. This is a well-known code broadcast by Russia's Central Command system and is usually used for a readiness check and possible a test launch of a ballistic missile. Monolith was a code word used by the Soviet military to convey messages of the highest priority. Its use is the same by the Russian army and can concern the strategic nuclear forces of either the Air Force or the Navy. Most likely, this order is related to what is happening in the Middle East. Another part of the article says, Washington Post has Russia delivered S-400 systems to Iran. Now, that would be a very big deal. So American networks are talking today about secret contacts in dangerous Russia-Iran capital against the background of the escalation between Tehran and Tel Aviv. According to the American media, the Iranians want or have already received the following from the Russians. Okay? S-400 system, advanced radars for early detection of air and sea threats, specific technology to upgrade Tehran's already abundant missile stockpile. So, I'm probably thinking that they gave them even better than an S-400, but that's just my guess. I have a feeling that Iran's probably setting on S-500s at least. Now, the latest that I'm aware of is the S-550. Okay, but Russia's not giving out anything other than, newer than the S-400. So, and that's not a whole lot of countries have been able to get S-400s. So we'll see. It goes on to say, according to the Washington Post, citing intelligence reports, Moscow may have supplied Tehran with advanced fighter jets and air defense technology that could help Tehran harden its defenses against any future airstrikes by Israel or the United States. As War News 24/7 revealed last year, there was an order from Iran for Su-35s, S-400s, and Yak-130 trainers. The latter have been landing in Iran for months. It remains unknown whether Moscow has also delivered the S-400s. But if this has happened, then their operators will probably be Russian and not Iranian. The Washington Post also points out that last March, an Iranian delegation visited a Russian defense factory where it inspected the production of air defense systems, including the S-400. It is not yet officially known whether Moscow has given any specific missile systems or technology to the Iranians, but it is a common secret that the two states cooperate both economically and militarily. The only thing that is certain is that Putin, if he deems it beneficial for Russia, can send weapon systems to Tehran, despite what the Western media claim that deliveries will take time. Another section of the article here. Israel plans to attack Iranian nuclear reactors. It says nightmare scenarios that seem to be not far from their realization are unfolding in the Middle East as Israel prepares to bomb Iran's nuclear reactors. Former Mossad intelligence director Zohar Palti said that targeting nuclear facilities in Iran is among the options for Israel, which has yet to respond to Saturday's attack. According to Sky News, asked if everything was on the table, including targeting nuclear facilities, Mr. Palti said, "There is no doubt everything is on the table right now." Pressed on whether they included nuclear facilities, he said, "including everything." So, and that's it for this article. But I really want to emphasize this. And I will give you kind of my speculation on how I think this is going to roll out. This is just my speculation, my guess. I could be just as wrong as I could be just as right. But I think what's going to happen, what was it? The 80s, I think? I read an article, I think it was like the 80s. Israel went in and committed an attack with F-16s. And I don't think it was Iran. It could have been. I don't remember who it was. But supposedly it was they just did an incredible job. The Israeli pilots used F-16s, did an incredible job. Well, I don't think that there's going to be a repeat of that. I don't. Now, as you know, and as it's on the picture there and on the thumbnail, Israel does have the F-35I. Those aren't magic. And they haven't been invisible to Russia for some time. So, thinking that you're going to get by an S-400 missile defense system with an F-35 is silly. And that's to throw out the idea that they could have something even newer like an S-500 system. So here's what I think is going to happen. And again, I could be just as wrong as I could be just as right. I think Israel's going to try to cruise on in and take out some locations in Iran. And I think Israel's going to get spanked hard. I think they're going to be swatted out of the air like flies. And then I don't think there's going to be a hesitation. I think Iran is going to respond in force. And when I say in force, I'm not necessarily saying nuclear or anything like that. I mean a lot of targets. A lot of targets. And I don't think it's going to be playing footsies like they did the first time. I'm telling you, they were playing footsies the first time. They were making a point. Apparently the point wasn't made clear enough. Iran never thought that they were going to get a bunch of stuff through to Israel. That was never a thought in their mind. I think Iran probably got through close to everything that they intended to get through. I wouldn't say everything, but I would say close. One thing that folks need to understand is hypersonic missiles are no joke. And there isn't a weapons, aerial defense system that can take it on, regardless of the reports from Ukraine. There isn't. There just isn't. So we'll see where this goes. But even if that scenario plays out, and I'm correct, I don't see it as being a World War III. Not at all. I don't think that Israel has a lot of allies that are going to be willing to jump in the middle of that, especially when the majority of those allies is trying to tell them, no, leave it be. So we'll see. We'll see. I do know Netanyahu doesn't have a whole lot of support as far as the West, and Netanyahu doesn't even have a lot of support as far as the Israeli people. There's a poll that was taken on that, and that should be in the headlines that we'll go over. So, according to the poll anyway, no, there's not a whole lot of Israelis that back an operation against Iran. Okay, next article. Prelude to Iranian attack. Hezbollah drone pierced Israeli air defenses and hit a concentration of IDF forces. 18 injured. Let's see. Hezbollah launched its most serious attack. Let's see. Its most serious attack since the start of the Israeli operations in Gaza, hitting with rockets and a kamikaze drone a temporary IDF concentration point in the town of Arab al-Armash. I know I'm butchering it. In northern Israel, wounding 18 people, 13 of whom were reservists. Hezbollah says it's in its claim of responsibility for the strike that it hit a building used by the Israeli army. Earlier, the organization's command revealed that it targeted artillery of the Iron Dome air defense system. The strange thing about the attack is that no alarm was sounded and the Hezbollah drone was not intercepted by Israeli air defenses. The attack was carried out with an Iranian-made kamikaze drone, the Mirsad-1, or a Babel-2T, whatever. And all this other just goes into more detail about it. But the important part that I wanted to point out is what they said, that no alarms, no defense systems, nothing. Which means it snuck in. Gotta pay attention to this stuff. A detail like that is huge. So shifting gears just a little bit here over to Ukraine. Apparently Ukraine had attacked a Russian base in Crimea and destroyed S-400 and S-300 systems, which is mind-blowing. And I don't know. We'll read the article. Ukrainian forces launched a complex missile attack against Russia's, and I can't pronounce that, air base in Crimea, destroying, according to Kiev, 3 S-400 artillery units, 1 S-400 radar, 2 S-300 artillery units, and an anti-aircraft missile depot. Russians confirmed Ukrainian attack and some casualties at the air base in Crimea. According to Moscow, initial evidence indicates that the Ukrainians attacked with multiple MGM-140 ATACMS ballistic missiles. It is possible that Ukrainian aircraft also participated in the attack, which launched Storm Shadow and Scalp cruise missiles. As Rybar claims that Ukraine hit the airbase with 12 ATACMS missiles, probably fired from Kherson, in 2 waves. 7 rockets were launched in the first and 5 in the second. It specifically mentions, regarding the rocket attack on the airbase last night, the Ukrainian Air Force launched an attack on the airport. About 12 ATACMS missiles were used in the strike, most likely launched from the Kherson area. The attack took place we just said that. The attack could be carried out both with MGM-140A missiles with a range of up to 165 kilometers and with MGM-140B missiles with a radius of 300 kilometers. If the launch is from the outskirts of Kherson, the Ukrainians can easily reach the airbase, even with the initial versions of ATACMS. In the previous strikes, a U.S. RQ-4B drone was patrolling the airspace south of Crimea, monitoring the operation. Meanwhile, Ukrainian forces are actively preparing for larger-scale offensives on the peninsula. A few days ago, there was an unsuccessful attempt to target the checkpoint in Berdyansk, followed by today's attack on the airport. The goal is clear: disrupting the coordination of Russian units by neutralizing command posts and causing significant damage to the air defense forces. Achieving these dual objectives, especially with the already weakened fleet, is crucial for the Ukrainian Air Force before targeting the Crimean Bridge. Now, I want to bring something up, okay? I mentioned a little bit ago how they have the S-500 and S-550 systems, and you don't even see Russia using those systems. And I find it intriguing, to say the least, that Russia's not using those systems. Now, do I think that that means that they don't really exist, or they're not working, or they're not ready? No. I think that Russia is holding back those cards. You know, nobody in a conflict like this wants to lay all their cards on the table. And nobody is laying their cards on the table. There's been an incremental increase in technology on the battlefield in Ukraine. But nobody's just laid out their hand. I mean, come on. It would be real obvious if they did. But they are incrementally increasing the technology of the weapons being used. I have a feeling that Ukraine is going to get in some good shots here quick, and I mean, they already did once, but I think there's more to come. I think that I'm just going to say the West is going to become brazen with what they give Ukraine, and I think they're also going to start having Western forces man some of this equipment so that they could better operate it than freshly trained Ukrainians. So we'll see, but they clearly got one in good. Now, this is eye-opening. Let me have a couple sips of coffee and a vape or two. I'll let you simmer on that headline for a moment. Was this on your bingo card? Certainly wasn't on my bingo card. Is now. Headline: Incredible American Revelation. Kim Jong-un is preparing for biological warfare. Says North Korean scientists seem to have fallen head over heels for the creation of viruses and bacteria, threatening to declare biological warfare in the wider region, according to a report by American scientists. As reported by the British newspaper Daily Mail, the Pyongyang regime already has an arsenal capable of causing chaos and terror in the region. In their latest assessment of Pyongyang's weapons of mass destruction, U.S. officials said Kim Jong-un's internationally isolated country has developed sprays and poison pens that can transmit deadly diseases. These weapons are said to be designed to spread germs such as smallpox or contaminate with anthrax, while some experts believe they are even more dangerous than the country's nuclear weapons program. The U.S. State Department's report, which monitors foreign governments' compliance with arms control obligations, typically states the U.S. believes that North Korea has a national-level offensive biological weapons program. That is, it has the ability to develop biological agents for military purposes, but also the technical infrastructure to produce bacteria, viruses, and toxins that could be used as biological weapons agents. The country also has the potential to create genetic biological products. Pyongyang is likely capable of equipping biological weapons agents with unconventional systems such as sprays and poison injection devices developed in its laboratories, the U.S. report points out. It is noted that the reclusive state has been a party to the Biological Weapons Convention since 1987, and evidence gathered over time suggests that it has the will and scientific capability to develop biological weapons. So, and it goes on saying that they're not, admitting that they have it. Defectors are saying that, they tested on political prisoners. And they may, but I can't speak a whole lot for what this nation's doing right now. So, I mean, all those January 6 people behind bars, that in my opinion, I'm just as bad. I mean, come on. That's stealing somebody's life from them. Crazy. But we got to feel sorry for Biden, don't you think? A little bit. I mean, wouldn't you feel sorry? Wouldn't you want somebody to feel sorry for you if you had a family member eaten by a cannibal? I mean, come on. I mean, even Blue just made noises back there. You just automatically would feel for somebody if they had family members eaten by cannibals, right? Because apparently Biden did. Biden claimed cannibals got his uncle. Damn cannibals. U.S. President Joe Biden has claimed on the campaign trail that an uncle of his who went missing in the Pacific during the Second World War had been eaten by cannibals. Second Lieutenant Ambrose Finnegan of the U.S. Army Air Forces was declared missing in May 1944 after his light bomber crashed in the sea. He got shot down in an area where there were a lot of cannibals at the time, Biden told reporters outside Air Force One in Scranton, Pennsylvania. You remember Scranton, right? Scranton, where you grew up, Scranton? Yeah, corn pop, ride the train to work? Yeah, Scranton. They never recovered his body, but the government went back when I went down there and they checked and found some parts of the plane. Several hours later, at a meeting with the United Steelworkers Union members in Pittsburgh, Biden told the same story. He got shot down in New Guinea, and they never found the body because there used to be. There were a lot of cannibals for real in that part of New Guinea. Corn Pop was there for a little while, and the 81-year-old Democrat said, I mean, I want to cry. I don't want to laugh. I want to cry. I want to scream. This is ridiculous. According to the Pentagon's Agency for Prisoners of War and Missing in Action, Finnegan was never shot down, however, nor was it on a reconnaissance mission, as Biden claimed. The A-20 Havoc light bomber was on a courier run from the Los Negros Island when its engines failed at low altitude, per the official account of the incident. The plane dropped into the sea off the north coast of New Guinea, and 2 out of 3 crew members never made it out of the sinking wreck, which was never found, nor any parts found. The one man who survived was rescued by a passing boat. I mean, what are we supposed to do with this? I mean, really, what are we supposed to do with this? Well, I don't know, but I've got some tips on landing that new home loan. Woman wheels corpse into a bank to secure the loan. Probably not a good idea. A woman in Brazil has been taken into custody after she wheeled the corpse of an elderly man into a bank, claiming he was her uncle and that he would co-sign a loan, according to media reports citing local police. Erica de Souza Vieira Nunes, who claimed to be the niece and caregiver of 68-year-old Paulo Roberto Braga, and I'm sure I got that wrong, wheeled the cadaver into the bank at a Rio suburb on Tuesday and told the teller the man wanted a loan for 17,000 reais, which is $3,250. She held a pen and moved his hand forward to no response, footage from the bank's security camera shows. "Uncle, are you listening? You need to sign," she reportedly said, suggesting she'd sign for him. "Sign so you don't give me any more headaches. I can't take it anymore," the woman added, grabbing hold of the man's neck with her hand from behind. "I don't think he's well. He doesn't look well at all," remarked one distrustful employee, with Nunez replying, "He doesn't say anything. That's just how he is." She then addressed the deceased man, "If you're not okay, I'm going to take you to the hospital." Crazy. Bank staff became suspicious as the man started to stink. No, as the man's head kept falling back, and they called the police, who arrested the woman on the spot. Nunez had been charged with fraud. The corpse was taken to the morgue. She knew he was dead. He had been dead for at least 2 hours, the investigating officer, Fabio Luiz Souza, told the news program Bom Dia Rio on Wednesday. I mean, how do you like a dead relative and you think, cha-ching? I personally think that they need to investigate her for murder. That's just me. Says, "I have never come across a story like this in the 22 years as a cop," added Souza, who said visible signs of rigor mortis left no doubt as to Braga's state. It was later determined that Braga had been dead for several hours prior to his trip to the bank. Police said they will look into the circumstances of the man's death and will try to determine whether Nunez is actually his niece and whether other people were involved in the alleged attempt to commit bank fraud. Well, maybe they ought to look into how the man died as well, because I would say it's a little suspicious all around. Just, maybe just a little bit of it. It's crazy. I mean, really? Messed up world, folks. And I mentioned this briefly with the whole Biden uncle getting eaten by cannibals story. Biden vows to block U.S. steel acquisition by a Japanese company and promises tariffs on Chinese steel. We have a U.S. steel not far from here, about 25-30 minute drive away from here. I don't remember because it changes names so many damn times. So I can't remember which is which. I know my brother worked for one of the steel mills, and then my dad worked for the other steel mill for a while. I don't remember which one. Because one was called Granite City Steel. That's where my brother worked, and my dad worked at what was called American Steel. But then again, they all got changed up. I don't know who's who. You're I just saw that. Hang on. His bullshit meter is about an 11 right now. Oh, man. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. So this is actually kind of a good thing. I'd say kind of a good thing because it's Biden. Whatever he does is going to bite us somehow. But I do think it's good that they're not allowing that asset to go to a foreign country. So it's a good thing. Just insane. Really insane what's going on. Anyway, those are the articles I had up. And let me Okay. So I was just checking something that was over on social media. Alright. Let me have a couple sips of coffee, and we'll do some headlines, and we'll get out of here. Why does it keep repeating my little appy thingy that I use to put comments up on the screen is like repeating the hell out of stuff. That's weird. Alright. Oh yeah? Inside or outside? Oh. Neighbor pulling out. I can't put it up on the screen because I don't have it yet. It's delayed too for some reason. Lil said he'd been busy pressure washing the house today. And there we go. Yeah. You know, I mean, it depends. If you're south of the Mason-Dixon line, you could have very well been pressure washing the inside. You know. How else are you going to clean the car bench seat couch? You know. Yeah, spray the banjo while you're over in the corner. I'm sorry. Just something about uncles getting eaten by cannibals and dead loan cosigners and stuff. I don't know. Ah. Oh man. Oh yay. My pod e-cigs are charged. I try to get them off the charger like as quickly as possible after they're charged, because they are cheap little bitty devices with Li-ion batteries in them. So, you know. Yay, my watch is charged. It's so, Oh, you think I was making fun of you? Wait, hang on, I'll show you. Oops. I'll make fun of myself. Let me get the watch on. So, my charger cable messed up for my watch. And I'm like as broke gets. I don't have the money to buy a new one. Lord knows when I'll have the money to buy a new one. And so I had to figure out some way to get it to work. And so, what happened is I was trying to resolder the wire, because the wires came off, and I was trying to resolder them. Well, I got it a little bit too hot, and it melted the plastic. And the thing is it's got to be pretty precise on how it sets on the watch in order to get a good enough connection to charge. And so what happened was two of the 4 pins extruded out more. So now if you just stick it on there, the magnet, with the magnet on there, 2 of the pins, or well, 1 of the pins at least, won't touch good enough to charge. So you have to help it make contact. And I've done that. I've done that. This is how I currently have to charge my watch. So, even if you're spraying the inside of your house, brother, it's not all that bad. I'm using an adjustable wrench to charge my my smartwatch. So, the red wire is a data wire, though, so I don't need the red wire to charge it. I'm sure somebody might have seen that and been like, what, the red wire's not even connected? No, it's not connected, but that's for data. Alright. And I bought one. That was the original. That's the original. I was able to keep repairing that. This is the replacement I bought. Didn't really last a real long time. And I'm not 100% sure what's wrong with this. Because if I run my multi-tester on the all 4 wires work fine. I mean, I get perfect continuity on all 4 wires. However, it won't charge the watch. So I don't know what gives with that. Even if I hold this one up tight on there, even if I use an adjustable wrench, just my fingers or whatever, nothing will help discharge that. Well, I have no idea what the deal is with that one. Doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm thinking that there must be a bad connection, and the only time that I would know it is under a load. So I guess I could check what kind of amps would go through it. That would probably help me understand. But I don't know, this board's different too. The original doesn't have anything on it other than just the pins, the wires connected to the pins. And on this board, there is clearly a resistor. And I haven't gotten out my magnifying glass thingies, my little, you put it on your head and it's got magnifiers, and I need to get it out and take a look at it and see. It could be that resistor could have went bad. So, okay, I don't know why it's got a resistor. The original one doesn't, so. Alright, let's do some headlines and get the heck out of here. U.S. government wanted backdoor to Telegram, says the founder. That I actually tweeted out last night after the show, but I wanted to make sure to include that today. And Apple and Google is more dangerous than the government, says Telegram founder. I would agree. This I don't believe for a second. No evidence Iran developing nuclear weapons, says the IAEA. I don't believe that for a second, because I think they've had them for a while now. My question, this makes me question, why would the IAEA lie? I don't understand that. West exploring all options on frozen Russian assets, says U.S. official. U.S. preparing new sanctions on Iran. Japan to retain oil and gas interests in Russia. Kiev's morale problems could lead to a defeat this year, says Politico. Second suspect detained in connection with attempt to assassinate Ukrainian defector, says FSB. Russia pulling its peacekeepers from Azerbaijan, says Kremlin. Dubai flooded amid torrential rains. Kiev demands Israel-style security guarantees. Good luck with that. IMF sharply raises Russia's economic growth forecast. A vote this week on U.S. aid for Ukraine in doubt, says AP. Israelis reveal their stance on retaliatory strike against Iran. A Middle East redefined. Iran's retaliatory attack on Israel signaled a major change in the region. I would agree. A Russian court to consider terminating Starbucks trademark rights. EU leadership must go, says member states' prime minister. A massacre for 3 Ukrainian brigades in Donetsk, 470 soldiers lost in 24 hours. It's a severe attack. Erdogan, Israel is a shame of history. They killed 14,000 children. They have surpassed Hitler. Covered that. U.S. Congress declares Palestinian slogan anti-Semitic. Georgia, this would be the country, to adopt controversial law despite pressure, says Prime Minister. U.S. House Speaker reveals timeline for vote on Israel and Ukraine aid. Covered this in a different article. Israelis injured in Hezbollah strike, says media. A U.S. general reveals details of Abu Ghraib's torture. Staunch critic of Russia resumes grain purchases. Israel and Ukraine not the same, says Burrell. Iran bracing for another Israeli strike, says Wall Street Journal. Poland lost track of tanks it sent to Ukraine, says an expert. I mean, how do you lose track of a tank? I mean, could you lose a couple my way, please? Political U-turn, Kiev headed for defeat, Putin closer than ever to his goal. So that's what Politico is saying now. What's coming to Armenia? Russian troops withdraw from Nagorno-Karabakh. So I don't know what's up with that. Israel, when and where to strike Tel Aviv. These are the likely targets. And it's a lot of speculation. Covered that. Netanyahu says we will decide for ourselves. We will do what is necessary to defend ourselves. Selic threats unilateral action by Greece to announce marine parks in the Ionian and Aegean. Covered that. U.S. promises not to kill Assange, says reports. I covered that. Covered that. U.S. call delayed Israeli response to Iran attack, says media. Ukrainian defenses in Krasnogorivka collapsed. Russian army advanced towards city center and after heavily armored attack. Yeah, I know, right? Well, the pictures are the ones from, I guess I ought to put that up on the screen so people know what I'm responding to. The pictures are from War News 24/7. So, yeah, for whatever reason, Elon still has not allowed RT's pictures to come through. So, at least there's not a warning on the RT links anymore, but the pictures still don't show up, the thumbnails. Members must choose Ukraine aid over own defense, says NATO boss. And that's it. But yeah, I know what you mean. Those are all War News 24/7 links, unless I happen to share a link from somewhere else. So, but that's kind of unusual. I know there was one KMOV link in there. Well, First Alert 4 is what they call themselves now. There's one of those in there, but no. RT's still not showing up, but War News 24/7 does. Most of the time. Not always, but most of the time. Anyway, that is what I've got for you this evening. I am going to jimmy out the back door. And, not really, but I'm going to go to bed. Because I spent another day getting stuff squared away around here. So I got stuff at least towards the kitchen direction squared away a lot better. So hopefully over the next couple of days I can get the rest of my winter projects and whatnot cleaned up and out of our way, out of our hair. So that's the hopes anyway. So anyway, I am going to get out of here. You have a good one too, Leol. The rest of you have a great evening. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow, and maybe we'll have even more nonsense or better nonsense. Who knows? All right, folks. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.